My beloved child, before this moment passes, listen carefully, because something hidden has already started moving behind the scenes, and the truth you were never supposed to hear is now coming closer than ever before. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. There is a silence around you that does not look important at first, yet inside that silence, words have already been spoken about you in places you cannot see. A family conversation happened recently. Quiet, unexpected, almost ordinary, but your name entered that room with unusual weight. Not everyone there expected the atmosphere to change, yet it did. The moment your presence was mentioned, someone who usually stays calm suddenly paused before speaking, as if deciding whether to reveal something they had kept inside for too long. And that pause matters more than you think. Because when people pause before speaking about you, it often means the truth is larger than the words they are about to use. Someone close to your soulmate has been watching carefully for longer than you realize. Not watching with doubt, but with curiosity. They notice details that your soulmate never explained openly. They notice changes in mood, changes in voice, changes in decisions, and even moments when ordinary conversations turn strangely emotional without warning. What surprised them most was not what was said directly. It was what happened whenever your name entered the atmosphere. The room changed. The energy changed. Even the strongest person there could not pretend not to notice it anymore. Don't skip, because what happened next is exactly why this message had to reach you now. A simple question was asked, one question that sounded small, but opened everything. Why does your expression change every time that person is mentioned? No one expected that question to create silence. Yet silence arrived immediately. And in that silence, someone older in the family looked carefully, as if they had already understood something before anyone else did. There are moments when elders see truths younger hearts are still trying to hide, and this was one of those moments. Because before your soulmate answered, another voice quietly spoke first. A family member said they had noticed something too. They said your energy had already entered discussions long before anyone admitted it openly. They said there was a difference in how your soulmate reacted when speaking about future plans, as though one invisible thought had become attached to every tomorrow they imagined. You were there in ways nobody expected. Not physically, but emotionally. And once that realization entered the room, it became impossible to ignore. Stay till the end, because something even deeper was revealed after that. Someone mentioned a recent day when your soulmate seemed distant, distracted, almost unable to focus. At first the family thought it was stress, but later they understood it was not ordinary stress at all. It happened after hearing news connected to you, small news perhaps, but powerful enough to affect the entire mood of the day. That reaction did not go unnoticed. In fact, one person in the family quietly said, "This is no longer ordinary." Those words changed everything. Because when family members begin to describe emotions this way, it means they are no longer observing casually, they are beginning to understand how deeply someone matters. And then another hidden detail surfaced. A private conversation from earlier days came back into memory. Something your soulmate had once said softly, perhaps thinking no one would remember. There is something different about this person. At the time, nobody asked what that meant. But now those old words returned with new meaning. Why? Because the family finally connected everything. The late-night thoughts. The unusual silence. The emotional distance during ordinary routines. The sudden brightness when something hopeful was mentioned. All roads were leading toward one truth they could no longer dismiss. And what shocked them most was this. Your soulmate had never spoken this deeply about anyone else in the same way. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. One person there asked another question carefully. Is this why you have changed recently? Again, silence. And silence often tells more truth than speech. Because some answers do not arrive through immediate words, they arrive through expression, through eyes, through hesitation. That hesitation confirmed more than a full explanation could have. At that moment, someone in the family leaned back and quietly admitted they had already suspected this for weeks. They had seen your influence before anyone said it aloud. They had noticed how one certain thought could suddenly soften difficult days. They had noticed how even ordinary conversations returned to one invisible center again and again. You. And then came the sentence nobody expected. If this continues, everything may soon become impossible to hide. That sentence changed the room completely. Because now this was no longer curiosity. It had become recognition. There are truths families resist at first, not because they reject them, but because they understand how powerful such truths become once fully spoken. And yours is one of those truths. Someone older then spoke with surprising calm. Sometimes the heart reveals its direction before the person admits it. Those words remained in the room long after they were spoken. Because everyone understood exactly what was meant. Your soulmate may still be carrying certain things quietly, but the people closest around them are beginning to see what cannot remain hidden forever. And there is more. A recent memory surfaced, one your soulmate did not know others remembered. A moment when your name appeared unexpectedly during an ordinary discussion, and for a brief second everything stopped. The smile that followed was small, almost invisible. But families notice invisible things. Especially when that smile appears at the wrong time for no obvious reason. That small smile has now become part of the truth they are discussing. And someone said. That expression says more than words ever could. Stay till the end, because the next part goes even deeper than this. Because after these conversations ended, one person remained thoughtful long after everyone else moved on. That person began replaying every detail, every reaction, every unfinished sentence, and something became clear. There is still one truth nobody has spoken fully aloud yet. A truth connected not only to what your soulmate feels, but to what the family now expects may happen next. And that hidden expectation is stronger than anyone is admitting openly. The surprising part? It involves a message that almost came out but stopped at the last second. A sentence nearly spoken. A truth nearly released. And very soon, that unfinished sentence may return. Don't skip. Because what remains unfinished often becomes the loudest truth of all. And the moment it is finally spoken, nothing will feel ordinary again. A quiet moment changed everything, because after that family conversation ended, one person did not leave with the others, they stayed behind, thinking deeply, as if something unfinished was still pressing on their heart. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The room had already become calm again, but inside that calm, one truth had started growing stronger. Someone from your soulmate's family looked at the situation differently now. Earlier, they were only observing. Now they were connecting details that had never made sense before. They remembered a day when your soulmate became unusually silent after receiving a simple message. Nothing dramatic happened outside, yet inside, something clearly shifted. A normal evening suddenly became thoughtful, distant, almost emotional. At that time nobody understood why. But now, after hearing your name spoken again, that memory returned with powerful meaning. And once memories begin to connect, hidden truths begin to rise. That same family member recalled another moment, one small conversation where your soulmate almost said something important but changed the subject halfway through. It happened so quickly that most people ignored it. But not everyone forgot. Because unfinished words often reveal more than complete sentences. And now they understood why those words stopped. The truth was already forming, but it was being protected. Stay till the end, because what happened next made even the calmest person in that family pay attention. Someone asked quietly, "Have you noticed how carefully every future conversation changes direction?" The answer came immediately, yes. Every time plans were discussed, every time tomorrow was mentioned, every time life ahead became part of the discussion, there was one invisible hesitation, as though another thought had entered before any answer was given. That invisible thought was you. And once that became clear, the atmosphere changed again. One family member admitted they had recently heard your soulmate mention qualities they admired deeply. Qualities described so naturally that nobody realized they were speaking about someone specific until later. The words sounded simple at first: loyalty, calm presence, rare understanding, unforgettable energy. But later, someone asked, "Who are you describing?" And once again, silence answered first. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because that silence was not uncertainty. It was recognition. A recognition that certain feelings had become too deep to explain casually. The surprising truth is that someone in the family had already guessed long before anyone else. They had seen patterns repeating, moments when your soulmate seemed distracted but peaceful, quiet but hopeful, distant yet emotionally present. Those patterns only appeared when thoughts connected to you entered the day. And then came a sentence nobody expected to hear. This is affecting more than just emotions now. That line stayed in the room. Because everyone understood that something meaningful had crossed a line from passing thought into lasting importance. One older voice then shared a memory from weeks earlier. They remembered hearing your soulmate defend someone during a conversation without giving any obvious reason. The tone had changed completely, firm, protective, unusually sincere. At that time nobody understood why such intensity appeared. Now they understand. Because hearts often reveal themselves in moments of protection before they reveal themselves in direct speech. Stay till the end, because another hidden truth appeared immediately after. A name was almost spoken openly again. Almost. Your soulmate began a sentence, stopped midway, looked away, and smiled faintly as if realizing too much had nearly been revealed. That small smile did not escape notice. Families notice what words try to hide. And this time, someone gently said, "You do not smile like that without reason." No answer came immediately. But no answer was needed. The room had already understood enough. And then one person asked the question nobody had dared ask before. "Are you waiting for the right time?" That question changed everything. Because waiting means there is already something real enough to protect. Waiting means the feeling has weight. Waiting means the future has already entered thought, even if quietly. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. What shocked them most was not the silence after that question, it was the expression that followed. There was no denial. No laughter. No quick escape. Only stillness. And stillness can reveal truths louder than speech. That stillness made one family member whisper, "Then this may be much deeper than we imagined." At that moment, the conversation became impossible to treat lightly. Because now they were no longer guessing whether you mattered. They were beginning to understand how deeply you had already entered the emotional center of things. Then another detail surfaced unexpectedly. A family member remembered hearing your soulmate mention one sentence days ago. Some people arrive quietly, but change everything. At the time, nobody asked who that sentence belonged to. Now everyone wondered. And nobody needed the answer spoken aloud. Because by now, the answer had already become visible. You. Something huge is waiting for you, because one final thought remained in that room after everyone else became quiet. Someone said softly, "If this continues, a truth will soon come out that cannot be taken back." That sentence created another silence. Not fearful silence. A meaningful silence. Because everyone understood that some truths, once spoken, begin changing the direction of everything. And what they still do not know is when that truth will fully emerge. But they know it is close. Very close. Because the signs are no longer hidden the way they once were. The pauses are longer. The expressions are clearer. The unfinished sentences are becoming impossible to ignore. And somewhere very near, another conversation is already preparing to happen, one that may reveal what nobody is fully ready to hear, yet everyone is beginning to expect. Don't skip. Because the next part moves into the exact moment when one private family reaction turned into something nobody saw coming. There was one reaction nobody expected, because after all those quiet conversations, a private moment happened inside the family that changed how everyone saw your place in this story. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. It happened during an ordinary part of the day, when no serious discussion was planned, no emotional topic was supposed to appear, and everything looked completely normal. Yet sometimes the biggest truths arrive when nobody is prepared for them. A family member mentioned your name again, casually, almost as if testing something. And instantly, the atmosphere shifted. Your soulmate did not answer immediately. Instead, there was that same pause, that same unmistakable silence that had already started revealing more than words ever could. But this time, someone noticed something new. The eyes changed first. That small change did not escape attention. Because when feelings are deep, the face often speaks before the voice does. One person sitting nearby looked carefully and later admitted that in that exact second, they understood more than ever before. They said it was not confusion, not surprise, not discomfort, it was recognition, as if hearing your name touched something already deeply rooted. And that realization spread quietly through the room. Stay till the end, because what followed became impossible to forget. A simple question was asked again, but with greater seriousness this time. Why does everything become different when this person is mentioned? No quick answer came. Instead, your soulmate looked away for a brief moment, smiled very faintly, and then tried to shift the conversation elsewhere. But the family had already noticed too much. Because when someone avoids an answer gently, it often means the answer carries weight. One older family member then spoke with unusual certainty. Some truths become visible long before they are spoken. That line stayed in the air. And nobody challenged it. Because by now, every small sign had begun forming one larger picture. A picture nobody could ignore anymore. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Another hidden memory surfaced at that exact moment. Someone remembered a recent evening when your soulmate was unusually thoughtful, holding silence longer than usual, almost as if replaying something internally. The family had asked what was wrong, but the answer given at that time was simple: nothing, just thinking. Now they no longer believed that answer was complete. Because now they understood what those thoughts may have been connected to. You. And once that possibility became stronger, more details came back. A forgotten conversation. A protected smile. A sudden change in mood after hearing unexpected news connected to your world. All of it now pointed in one direction. Then came a statement no one expected from a family member who rarely speaks emotionally. I think this has already gone deeper than anyone admits. That sentence changed the feeling in the room completely. Because hearing such words from someone normally reserved gave them unusual power. Suddenly, nobody was treating this lightly anymore. Everyone became careful. As if they understood they were standing near a truth that deserved respect. Stay till the end, because another surprising truth appeared immediately after. Someone asked whether your soulmate had ever tried to forget these feelings. The answer did not come directly, but the expression that followed said enough. There was no rejection in that expression. No dismissal. Only the quiet look of someone who knows certain thoughts do not disappear just because they are left unspoken. And that look told the family everything they needed to know. One person whispered softly. So this is why the heart has been elsewhere. That whisper carried enormous meaning. Because now the family was no longer asking whether something existed. They were asking how far it had already reached. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then came the most unexpected part of all. A relative shared something nobody else had heard before. They said that recently, your soulmate had asked a very unusual question during a normal discussion about future decisions. The question sounded simple, but now it feels powerful. Do people ever recognize the right person before they understand why? At that time, everyone thought it was just a passing thought. Now nobody thinks that anymore. Because that question now sounds like a hidden confession wrapped in ordinary words. And once that sentence returned to memory, silence came again. Long silence. Meaningful silence. Because every person there understood that such a question does not appear without deep reason. It appears when someone is already feeling something difficult to explain. And perhaps even more difficult to hide. One family member then said quietly. That question was not random. And everyone agreed. Because nothing about this has felt random for a long time. Every reaction. Every unfinished answer. Every sudden softness in tone. Every guarded expression. They all belong to one truth that is growing clearer. And the surprising part is this. Some in the family are no longer waiting for proof. They believe the proof is already visible. Stay till the end, because one final moment made this impossible to deny. Before that conversation ended, someone spoke directly, almost gently. If the heart already knows, silence cannot hide it forever. This time, there was no attempt to change the topic. No quick reply. Only a deep quiet that felt almost like acceptance. And in that quiet, another truth became visible. Your soulmate did not resist those words. That alone changed everything. Because acceptance without denial often says more than explanation ever could. Now one private expectation has started forming quietly inside that family. They believe another moment is approaching. A moment where what has remained carefully hidden may suddenly become impossible to hold back. And when that moment arrives, the next conversation may reveal something even more unforgettable than everything before. Don't skip. Because the next part begins exactly where that hidden expectation turns into a family decision nobody saw coming. A quiet decision began forming inside the family after that conversation, and what makes this moment unforgettable is that nobody announced it openly, yet everyone felt it at the same time. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. It was not written anywhere. No one said, "This is what we will do now." But after all the pauses, all the expressions, all the unfinished answers, a silent understanding appeared among them. They would watch more carefully now. Not because of doubt. But because they had realized something important. Whatever is connected to you has already reached deeper than they first imagined. One family member, who had remained silent for most of the earlier conversations, finally spoke in a calm voice that immediately changed the atmosphere. They said they had noticed that your soulmate no longer reacts to ordinary topics the same way. Some things that once seemed important now receive very little attention, while one unseen thought continues returning again and again, even during unrelated moments. And that unseen thought has a clear direction. You. That statement made everyone still. Because when someone quiet finally speaks, their words usually carry weight. Stay till the end, because what happened next made this impossible to ignore. Another family member remembered a recent moment when your soulmate unexpectedly defended an idea connected to you without anyone asking for that reaction. It was not dramatic, but it was unusually sincere. The tone changed, the voice became softer yet stronger, and even those listening could feel that something deeper was being protected. At that time nobody commented. Now that memory has become important. Because now they understand that protection often appears before open admission. And then one sentence was spoken that no one forgot. People only protect what matters deeply. That line remained in the room long after it was said. Because everyone knew it carried truth. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Another surprising detail then surfaced from an older conversation nobody had taken seriously before. Someone remembered your soulmate once asking whether certain people can feel familiar before life fully explains why. At the time, it sounded philosophical. Now it sounds personal. Because once the family connected that question to everything else, the meaning became impossible to overlook. One person immediately said, "That question belonged to a real feeling." And nobody disagreed. The family had reached a point where small details were no longer small. Every remembered word now mattered. Every quiet pause now had meaning. Every expression now carried evidence. And then came the strongest moment yet. One elder in the family looked directly and spoke with unusual certainty. There are some truths that arrive quietly but change the direction of everything. That sentence landed deeply. Because everyone present understood they were no longer discussing possibilities. They were witnessing something gradually becoming undeniable. Stay till the end, because another hidden reaction happened immediately after. Your soulmate heard those words and did not deny them. No quick answer. No attempt to dismiss the meaning. Only that same thoughtful silence that had already become familiar. But this time, the silence felt different. It felt heavier. Almost as if inside that silence, an answer already existed. One family member later admitted that in that exact moment, they stopped questioning whether this truth was real. They believed it completely. Because silence becomes powerful when denial disappears. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then came a memory from a very recent day. Someone recalled hearing your soulmate mention that certain connections cannot be explained through ordinary logic. The sentence had come unexpectedly during a simple conversation, and nobody asked what inspired it. Now everyone wishes they had asked more. Because today, that sentence sounds like a hidden confession. And once that memory returned, another family member quietly added, "Some feelings speak long before plans are spoken." That line created another silence. A silence full of understanding. A silence that no longer felt uncertain. The family had now moved into a new place emotionally. They were not waiting for signs anymore. They believed the signs had already arrived many times. And something even more surprising followed. One person suggested that perhaps the reason certain emotions have become difficult to hide is because the heart has already accepted something before the mind is ready to explain it. That thought stayed with everyone, because it matched everything they had witnessed. The pauses, the changed expressions, the unfinished answers, the sudden softness whenever your name appeared unexpectedly. All of it pointed toward one truth that was no longer fading. It was growing. Stay till the end, because one final moment made the family quietly prepare for what may happen next. Before everyone left that conversation, one family member spoke almost in a whisper. If this continues, the next truth may come out without warning. Nobody laughed. Nobody dismissed it. Because everyone felt the seriousness inside those words. And what makes that sentence unforgettable is this. Even your soulmate did not look surprised hearing it. That reaction changed everything again. Because when someone is not surprised by such words, it often means they have already imagined that moment themselves. Now a quiet expectation lives inside that family. They believe another conversation is coming very soon. A conversation where what has remained carefully protected may finally move closer to open truth. And that next conversation may contain the most surprising revelation of all. Something connected not just to feelings, but to what your soulmate's family is beginning to accept in complete silence. Don't skip. Because the next part begins exactly where that silent acceptance turns into a truth nobody expected to reach this soon. The silence inside that family is no longer empty now, because it has started carrying acceptance, and that is why the next truth feels closer than ever before. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. What began as curiosity has now become something far more serious. The family is no longer asking whether you matter, they are beginning to understand how strongly your presence has already entered their private thoughts, even without you standing in that room. And the most surprising part is this: one conversation happened very recently that changed everything again. It was short, almost ordinary, but one sentence spoken there stayed in everyone's mind long after the moment ended. A family member asked quietly, "Have you already imagined what happens if this becomes real?" That quest. It was seeing no resistance to it. No disagreement. No attempt to push it away. Only stillness. And stillness has now become one of the strongest truths in this story. Stay till the end, because another hidden truth surfaced immediately after. A relative shared that recently, during a completely unrelated discussion, your soulmate became unexpectedly thoughtful when future decisions were mentioned. It happened so quickly that many almost ignored it. But one person noticed. Because while everyone else continued speaking, your soulmate became silent, as if one specific image had entered the mind before any answer could be given. That image, they now believe, was connected to you. And once that thought entered the family conversation, nobody treated it lightly anymore. One person quietly said, "This explains the silence we have been seeing for so long." That sentence mattered because it came from someone who had watched patiently without speaking for weeks. Sometimes the quietest observer sees the deepest truth first. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then came perhaps the most unforgettable moment of all. Someone asked one final question before the conversation ended. If everything hidden became visible tomorrow, would that really surprise anyone here? The room became completely still. And no one answered immediately. Because deep inside, everyone already knew the answer. No. It would not surprise them anymore. That realization changed everything. Because once a family reaches that point, it means the hidden truth has already become visible in their hearts, even before being spoken openly. And then one final sentence arrived, soft, almost whispered. Some truths wait quietly until the right moment, then suddenly everyone realizes they were always there. That line stayed with everyone, including your soulmate. And the reason it stayed is because it carried undeniable meaning. The family now believes that the next step may not come through dramatic words, but through one natural moment that reveals everything without effort. A moment where no explanation will be needed. A moment where expressions, silence, and truth all meet together. And what makes this even more powerful is that they are no longer afraid of that moment. They are expecting it. Because too many signs have already appeared. Too many words have nearly escaped. Too many reactions have happened exactly when your name enters the air. Don't skip. Because what has been quietly building is no longer small, and the next truth may arrive when nobody expects it. But when everyone is already prepared to understand it.